Which cartoon character had the best character development and why? I feel like Hank Hill really grew throughout the series. It's really a show about the father-son relationship, and you get to see how his relationship with Cotton affected him. He doesn't fully understand Bobby, but I think his motivation in trying to comes from not wanting to be like Cotton. Ashoka Tano from Clone Wars. What a great series. Sokka from Atla. He is underrated and often overshadowed by Zuko, partly because his character is often used for comedic relief. However, his development from a sexist alpha male mentality kid to a true leader is to look at, and something a lot of viewers could actually relate to more than to Zuko. Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls. That whole show had great characters, but Stan had the most interesting ups and downs. Over the Garden Wall had so many amazing character developments, and lots of twists and turns. Megamind. While Zuko is the best one, Azula's decay into insanity was good. Sure, she starts evil, but all her frustrations add up. Philip J. Fry. BoJack Horseman. I really love Simba. Goes from a spoiled kid to wanting to be brave to impress his dad to experiencing unbelievable trauma and guilt to repressing it all as a carefree young adult to finally accepting his destiny as king. But even when he goes back to fight Scar, he isn't willing to really break free of his guilt until Scar reveals that he killed Mufasa. Raven from Teen Titans. She grew up thinking that destiny was an unchangeable reality, succumbing to the threats of her father, and living a life full of anxiety and isolation because of her fears. Before dying, she had the hope that she was wrong about everything and gave each of her friends a portion of her soul to survive the brought forth apocalypse, granting them the chance they needed to survive and fight a bit longer. After all was said and done, and after it had cost her her very own life, she finally understood that her destiny was what she chose for it to be and not what others told her it was. Though she failed the first time, she was given a second chance to change it all and took it. Having grown from that experience, she came back stronger, more balanced, and more trusting in those who loved her, chose who truly was her family, and ended up saving her world from her father. Truly a great metaphor for life's choices, free will, and the dooming feeling of a predestined life. A great arc for a great character. Ice King from Adventure Time. Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Excluding Prince Zuko, as that's a given. Jean-Pierre Polnareff from JoJo's. He turned himself into a turtle. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Pops from Regular Show. He seems like an old goofball, but spoiler for show that ended years ago, he ends up giving his life to save the universe. Ashoka Tano in the Clone Wars. She started as an annoying little shit for a while, but as time went on she became a character that so many people love, and now after the last few episodes of Clone Wars she's one of, if not the cool Clone Wars characters, and is now probably getting a part in Mondo. Absolute beast now. A nice descending character is Scrappy Doo. From courageous puppy to absolute villain. Vegeta. He went from a villain to reluctant hero, rival to Goku to husband and father. Then he had his redemption in the Buu saga. Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. Faye Valentine. If your heart didn't shatter into a million pieces for her during the VHS tape scene, or the stick drawn better when she's pleading with Spike not to leave, then I don't know what to say. Edit, reducing font. Not sure what happened, but apparently people were offended. Edit 2, making it big again. Because Dr. Doofenshmirtz used the EMBIGGENATOR! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark quote. Princess Carolyn. Flynn Rider entangled. Enzo Matrix from Reboot. Ish got real when mainframe got opened up to the web. Peridot from Steven Universe. Honestly, there are so many Sue characters that I could have listed, but Peridot has one of my favorite villain to ally arcs. She starts out just like any other gem, cold, hating the earth, only wanting to do her job. But after getting stuck on the planet, Peridot is shown the little things that make Earth beautiful, and she eventually wants to defend it, and her turnaround wasn't too quick or forced either. She had ups and downs. Eva from Wally. Damn, when she tried to wake up dead, Wally broke my heart. Seuss from Gravity Falls. I've been waiting since the beginning of time for a third season. Carl from Up. I'm still mind blown that Pixar was able to create such a compelling story that addressed grief and loss, the realization childhood dreams, being a father figure, and the search for meaning in life all into one animated movie. Miriam from HXH. Catra or Zuko. They both seemed to be irredeemable at first, but in the end they became one of the best characters in their respective series. Prince Zuko. My dude had his uncle guiding him throughout his whole formative teenage life and still chose poorly when the time came to choose. He regretted it and did what he could to make things right, and succeeded in doing so and reunited with Iroh. Such a great arc. Marceline from Adventure Time. Finn from Adventure Time. Daria, hands down. Or maybe Beth, or Rick from Rick and Morty. The last two seasons, the new ones, really skipped over so much story arc, but the final episode made up for it. Rick, I guess, realizes what a dick he is at the end of each season, but he doesn't change. So, is that development? I don't know, but he's interesting AF. Vegeta FS. Everyone in here is about to say Zuko, I swear. I'll say something little bit different. Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Cusco from Emperor's New Groove. Spoiled brat with everything, to spoiled brat with nothing. To less spoiled brat learning about teamwork, to fairly normal person, to getting everything back but not being spoiled anymore, but rather respectable. That scene where he saved Pacha's life and was celebrating was a true turning point. He realized he could get a great feeling by doing good rather than just fulfilling his own desires. Also a good lesson for the target audience. Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars. The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels had a great character arc. The character arcs in Samurai Champloo are very well written. They each grow into people they wouldn't have been if they hadn't teamed up. Diane Eugen from BoJack Horseman. I look how she came to terms with herself despite starting out with false sense of self. Catra from the new She-Ra. In a way, the new She-Ra is more Catra's story than She-Ra herself. Just watch this for the why. Major spoilers, by the way. And she goes into a bit about how similar and different Catra's and Zuko's stories are. https://youtube. BYFLHKWYSBUO. Honestly, that whole show has some of the best written characters I've ever seen. Even Hordak. He never really gets a redemption arc. He doesn't either deserve one really. But you can tell that he is affected by the kindness shown to him by Entrapta. There are some great answers here, but they all pale in comparison to Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, especially after they found his long-lost son, Dale Dimmadome, heir to the Dimmadome fortune. Since everyone else already took all of the Avatar answers, I'll add Stan Pines to the list. Rigby from Regular Show. He goes from lazy fuck that doesn't care about anything to a great guy that truly does care about his friends. Kim Possible. Lisa Simpson. Fight Me. Pacifica Northwest from Gravity Falls. Started off as a snobby rich girl before mellowing and almost stopping the apocalypse. Catra from SPOP. I'm still amazed at how much she changed through all the seasons. She actually got a natural and well-paced character development that also was a key point to the plot. All the characters from As Told by Ginger. They probably had the most realistic growth scene in a kid's cartoon. Plus they changed clothes daily and sometimes repeated parts of outfits, which was a nice touch. Philip J. Fry from Futurama. I know it's a comedy show, but the most heartbreaking moments involve Fry and just how much he means to everyone or how much he does to help. I am only just realizing his growth as a character as I grow older too. A down in the dumps, not so smart pizza delivery boy who is catapulted into a new life, and what does he do? forgives his brother and appreciates his nephew, is best friends and roommates with a robot who has almost as many problems as he does, was the first kind person to Leela and was ready to die for her on multiple occasions, saved the professor from humiliation, saves universe more than once and comforts his mother just by dream hugging her, secretly knowing that's what they both needed. Fry deserves more love and appreciation. Lust from Full Metal Alchemist 2003. Finn Mertens. Dude went from being an immature kid who got sad when an adult rejected him and would fight anything if it was evil, no regard for the context, to a person who realizes that finding someone at that moment isn't too much of an important thing to do. And I'd say as he learned more about Simon, he started to be more of a pacifist. This was further proven in Gumbaldia and throughout the finale. Vegeta, being the evil villain in the start of DBZ, and becomes a father figure and completely turns around his character, but still has the say and pride as always. Perfect. 2ton21 from the Venture Brothers. Starting off as a henchman to the Monarch, he goes through some of the best character growth on television. Various storyline-driven events force him to come to grips with his reality multiple times. The entire The Venture Brothers show is ripe full of some of the best character development I've ever seen in an animated series. You just need to get through the first 2 seasons of world-building filler so you have a basis to develop off of. You could argue Harley Quinn was and is the most developed character from Batman the Animated Series, as her arc survived what in reality was to be the bimbo sidekick just for that animated run. Her character morphed into a longer set of stories in later comics, further animated series, and full-length feature films. That has gone on just shy of 30 years. Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of my favorite cartoons from when I was younger. Kobe from One Piece, from a literal nothingness to someone who bites the strongest, from a coward to brave. Goku, more specifically from mid-Frieza saga all the way to the end of DBS. In short, I think Goku transitions from strong dude protecting his friends and the Earth to a narcissistic meathead psychopath who continually puts his friends, home, and eventually universe in danger, all in the name of getting stronger. Hawkgirl, Shayera from Justice League Unlimited. Her being a Thanagarian spy the whole time was surprising enough, but her abandoning the Hawkgirl identity after that and struggling to become a hero and earn back the trust of her former teammates was a great story. Steven from Steven Universe, you really get to see him grow throughout the series as he matures out of childhood and has to adapt his personality and ethics into adulthood. Zuko, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ned Flanders before he got Flanderized. Chris from Family Guy, went from an idiot to becoming the only sane and gentle person in the house. The Ice King from Adventure Time. What a sad little life. Anyone think of Ice King from Adventure Time? Roger from American Dad. Ricky Spanish. Prince Zuko. Kahlua from Hunter x Hunter. Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Summer from Rick and Morty. She was just a bitch before. Now she is a cool one. Probably not the best example, but the first one I thought of. I always loved Vegeta's progression throughout DBZ. Specifically DBZ, not the continuation 20 years later. He spends the entire series seemingly going through several stages of grief. A very angry man in general, often in denial of the reality in front of him. I don't recall timelines or ages offhand, but he's fairly old by the end. I know he's not old by his race's standards, but we are just being mindful of the time that's passed over the show, from being royalty, dwindling to a handful of your prideful race, being shown up time and time again by low-born trash, even being saved by them several times, losing purpose and direction leading to depression. Then years later bargaining for temporary power to have one last shot at proving you're better than this peasant, this clown, sacrificing himself only to learn the gap not only had not closed but was larger than ever. Finally, to the very end, when he's looking permadeath in the face, only to be saved once more by this clown, he reflects. He sees the undeniable proof of the gap between them. But he also realizes the things that he sees as weakness in Goku are what helps make Goku strong and motivates him. He finally accepts reality. While he remains an angry person and not the most pleasant to be around for most of the cast, you can see a clear change in his character and demeanor. Vegeta. Shit, his character was still developing 30 years later. Zuko and Katara from Atla. Though Zuko has very well-known character arc, Katara grows so much throughout the show. She meets the guy who killed her mother. She learned bloodbending and so many more experiences. She grows from a mere child to a strong young woman. It is very interesting to watch so many characters grow in the same show throughout the story.